philosophical meaning of the distance, if, like we see in the graph. There is what we call echelon 1, echelon 2, echelon 3, and echelon 4, and also the staff. They work in the same area or the same table. They can discuss whatever about the job, about the program, the activity that they have. There is no kind of distance between the what we call the pejabat and also staff, the boss and with the staff. There is no distance between boss and the staff. This is a kind of distance that we can also categorize into philosophical meaning. Yeah. What I do concern about first Cairncross, he had a notion that the distance is dead. Yes, a notion that in 1997 he had a notion that the distance is dead. So why the distance is dead? So this make, if the distance is dead, there is no transport cost. Then when you send your product, you send your services, then you do not need to bear the transport cost. That what the idea of the Cairncross, but Rietveld and Vickerman of 7 years after that mentioned that actually the distance, the notion of the distance that is premature. The transport costs still exist. Yes, it is reduced in very significant, but it is not becoming zero. And the other scholar, Graham and Marvin, talk about that distance become less important. Yes, okay, distance become less important, but the consequence of that is continuing the concentration of urban area. So cities is in a question mark. Does city still exist in the ICT area? So if we see the graph, if we see the picture before 1900, what is the distance is about 10 kilometers per hour. Then after 1960, 1,000 kilometers, and after 2000, it is said that no distance. So that's the discourse between the distance is that or not. So when we compare the when we have market theory between production and transport costs change, when the production costs decrease, then the producer will have more market share. And also when the transport costs decrease, the producer will have much more market share. We can see from the graph the difference between the production costs, the decreasing of production costs and the decreasing of the transport cost. Again, you can imagine when the transport cost is equal to zero, you can imagine that we will have a very we will have unlimited market share. That's why we heard about Silk Road program and anything else. So transport costs, I think, very important. If we want to develop, we want to become an advanced country, then we have to deal with the low as much the transport cost. What Rietveld said about the ICT and transport cost, he said that ICT is not a substitute; it is a complement. It is not substitute; it is a complement. That he said that in 2004, he already mentioned that work from home make people live farther away from their workplace. And what is the result? The result is the transport cost per kilometer decrease. That's true. The transport cost is decreased, but the total kilometer travel increase. If we have a calculation of 5 times a work day, 5 times 10 kilometer for example, then we have 15 kilometer travel. After work from home, then we only need to attend to prison only twice a week. But people move away from the workplace. Let's say, for example, 30 kilometer, then 2 times 30 becomes 60. So there is twice more travel increase in the total. So what I am interested in the transport cost is applying it to bureaucracy sector. We know in bureaucracy sector there is what we call perjalanan dinas, or I'm not sure in English is it official travel, and we can divide it into two, inside the region and outside the region, perjalanan dinas dalam daerah dan perjalanan dinas luar daerah. And also, what is the cost related to the travel or transport cost is also the gasoline cost or BBM, also the maintenance, and many relating travel costs. Like we will see the transport expense. Transport expense is a kind of reimbursement for the trainee participant. That's the transport cost, the transport expense. And also the local government provide the services to the public. So if the bureaucracy can serve the people or the local people or online, then or e-services or e-office, then it will reduce to traveling or transport cost, and also the second one is transaction cost. In this occasion, in this time, I only discuss for what we have in the physical meeting to online meeting for the first definition. And what is the question that I want to answer for this research is, we know that 2019 is sorry. We 2019 and 2020. 2020 is pandemic era. 2019 is a normal condition. In 2020, we have what we call PSBB, pembatasan sosial berskala besar, restricted since April to until October. Then what I have in mind, there will be mass transport costs will be safe. Like people or the bureaucracy or the government employee will not go for official travel inside or outside the region, and the use of the vehicle, the office vehicle will reduce as well. And I have an hypothesis that that will be 70% of the travel costs or the transport costs will be saved from that condition. And then another question is the ICT-based working is sustained for local government. So my hypothesis that it is depend under it will sustain under some circumstances, under certain conditions. So what I have in this is the methodology and data. It is on only quantitative, descriptive. Yeah, it's a little no, not many data with I can provide in this research. Just this is just a kind of initial research, preliminary research. Then what we have that we need a data of from LRA, Laporan Realisasi Anggaran, or budget realization report. Then what we want to know is what is the difference official travel perjalanan dinas realization between 2019 and 2020. What is the gasoline cost and maintenance fuel cost realization between those years? What other related transport cost realization? And after that, I have
sorry, Pak Wempie, 3 minutes more.
Okay, thank you, Pak Joni. Then this is I will discuss about the result directly. This is what we have. As you see, the nominal increase, the nominal decreases from 6.4 to 3.7, but the percentage increase. The percentage from 14% to 25%. And if you broke into vehicle services, spare part, gasoline, transport, expense vehicle, and perjalanan dinas dalam daerah dan luar daerah, then what the decrease from what this percentage stay is all of this component increases in percentage from 0.31 to 0.55. Only transport expended still exists in the 22%. And you see that perjalanan dinas dalam daerah increase almost twice. That's amazing. That's amazing. That's what happened. In PSBB, we have a lot more perjalanan dinas. The next question is it sustained after pandemic? First, there is moral hazard based on empirical. The second one, work from home increase the transport demand, like Rietveld said that kilometer traffic increase. The last one, from the government policy said that the central government want Bali as a MICE or work from home location. So it make transport demand increases. The next one, the new normal after October, the office, government office start to use MICE in hotel and with protocol conference, and there is a distance between knowledge and policy. When we talk about effectiveness, we should limit the number of participants for the online working or work from home, and also from the human resource and local government. I think that's all, and what I have that have in mind that we have potential safe, that there is no potential safe based on data because of a high potential moral hazard in budget use in local government. That's my presentation, and I'm sorry, Pak Joni. Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. For participants, any questions to Pak Wempie? Any questions? Maybe from Pak Yogi, Pak Oscar, Pak Joshua, maybe. Any question for Pak Wempie? From Pak Juventus, maybe. Any questions?
Hi, Pak.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you for the presentation, Pak. I just have one clarification. So I think you make assumption about 70% reduction. So is it this assumption
Yes.
affect your estimation, the table, or it will affect other in your study?
It is my assumption, yes.
So it will affect, you present the computation of decrease in the cost of vehicle or cost in transportation.
Yeah.
Does that come from 70%?
Yeah, because there is no travel at 2020. There is no travel because we are in PSBB and so on. So I have
Oh.
my assumption, my own assumption.
So it's not based on the real reduction in the actual spending of the
The empirical there is no reduction in percentage. In nominal there is a reduction, but the total budget also decrease more than twice. So normally the nominal transport costs also reduce as well.
I see. Yeah.
Yes.
Just one more clarification, Pak. How many observations you have in your study? You said it's a tourism local office?
Yeah, only one office. Tourism.
I mean, at
Province
the
of
employee
Sumatra.
level, or is it only
One office.
one office?
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Pak.
Thank you, Pak Juventus. Any question for Pak Wempie? No? Okay. I just one question, Pak Wempie. Sorry, two clarification. You mentioned in your research is transportations and maintenance cost is reduced. How about the cost of ICT? You know, in the support to online meeting, maybe how to cost of the ICT. The second, why the gasoline, gasoline cost is, there is no difference between 2019 and 2020. There is no difference for cost for gasoline. Thank you, Pak Wempie.
Okay. Thank you, Pak. I will show this. This is gasoline cost. Then you can see that 150x in 2019 and 157 in 2020. There is no difference in gasoline cost, even though we have less total budget from this is the total budget. You can see that in 2019 the budget is 43 billion, and the budget in 2020 it's only a third of the budget 2019. So that make what happened with this budget management in local government. And in ICT, I have to share this ICT, but I see the number is increased, but not really significant, Pak Joni. It increased, but not significant. Now, what I want to mention that the transport expenses, the reimbursement for trainee participant, it decreases, and the percentage is stay the same. So this is for the people who trains by the government, and the other cost is go to the bureaucracy. So this is the only budget that is the number for transfer expense that go to the people. So outside the bureaucracy.
Pak Wempie, you can see the room chat.
Yeah.
So yeah, you can one question from Pak Yogi.
Yeah, Pak Yogi. Yeah, Pak Yogi, I'm sorry. I have a promise for you that I cannot. Sorry. Okay, that I will read this.
Or do you want me to just say the question?
Sorry.
You want me to just say the question, or can you read it on the chat?
Yeah, I can read the chat. Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
The various governments still require the department to spend all budget to make all disbursement according to the original. So they need to spend it on another. then paying is difficult to have a license. Maybe Pak Udin can help me with this question. Or I'd rather to have your own.
Maybe I can explain the background for this question. I found that several anecdotal evidence.
Oh, sorry, Pak Yogi. Sorry.
Yep.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, Yogi, Pak Yogi.
Okay. So yeah, I found that several anecdotal evidence that several departments and dinas still would like their budget to be spent. So there are some panicking that they haven't spent the budget according to the budget, and it means requiring their PNS, their civil servant, to go for a meeting, and a meeting in a hotel rather than using the budget to pay their, for example, Zoom license to be able to have virtual meeting at home. So that's actually quite interesting, and you can say that it is a moral hazard, but in a way that's maybe because the way the bureaucrat always work in Indonesia, try to spend all the budget they have. So that's probably I try to clear up a bit about why I asked that question. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Pak Yogi. First,
may I have
comment? Okay.
Pak Udin.
Thank you.
Okay. I think this is one of the criteria for ministry or dinas performance. Yes, this is both budget performance, then budget performance based on the disbursement. So the more you disburse your budget, the highest achievement your department or your unit. This is, I think, one of the obstacle that we have to adjust. We have to reform, I think, because from this pandemic we can learn that although we reduce the budget from maybe half from the normal, but the disbursement for the thing that we have to save, like transport, like perjalanan dinas, travel outside or inside city, we have to reduce. But empirically, still normal. We have still disbursed all of the budget in the transportation, local and outside and in the city. I think that's my comment. Thank you.
Thank you, Pak Udin and Pak Wempie. I think we can move the second presentation.
Thank you, Pak Yogi.
Okay, success for Pak Wempie and Pak Udin. So you can submit in the next time. We can move the second presentation. This is Professor Sakamoto. Professor Sakamoto talking about the extending input-output analysis to regional analysis in Indonesia. 20 minutes, Pak Sakamoto. The time is yours, Pak.
Yeah, thank you, Chairman. My name is Hiroshi Sakamoto from Japan.
Okay.
So,
Please slideshow, Professor Sakamoto.
yes, yes. Can I see presentation?
Yes.
Slideshow. You can see. Okay,
Yes.
can see. But, okay. Very slowly.
Okay, I think this is
Okay.
okay. Yeah. Okay. Nice.
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you, invite me to presentation. IRSA. This title is last year submitted, so I forgot to so coming invitation. So they are presenting is and applied input output analysis. So this one is applied to regional analysis from input table in Indonesia. And input output IO analysis is all mainly one region, one country mainly analysis, but sometimes make multi-regions input output table also. But it's very rare to publish. So in my presentation, I have one idea to make IO one country's IO analysis to make regional analysis. So in that, my idea is second, applying end designing household model is applying, and designing final demand to each region. My result is here. DK Jakarta has a large spillover effect in many industries, and the small one is Maluku. So that's all. My model is here. This one is standard simple IO model, relative model, and output is making intermediate input and the final demand, and the make inverse matrix is here. Second one is imports and endogenous. In that case, final demand divided to final demand and export and import. In that case, inverse matrix is here. This one is may many use this model, but enzyme household model is here. This one is little special model. In that case, final demand is this one. This part is consumer household consuming expenditure, and other part of final demand, and then make this this kind of coefficient. C means consumption coefficient, and V means employment efficient, and then output. In that case, output is intermediate consumption at other part and export and import. Then make a inverse matrix is here. And in this paper, my idea is this part. This part is this one is consumption, but in this case, in my case, is a little bit different. This one is final demand is one region's final demand and others regions final demand, final demand, and then this one is this matrix R is final demand, specific provinces final demand, because this Homa model CV means this one is consumption, the value added and output. So this one cancelled. Then information of value added can be ignored. Then this idea, final demand, dividing to one region and another region. So concept of in IO table is also here. This one is say, original input output table. But in this paper, I divided final demand to region one to region another, and dividing to Indonesia's 33 provinces. Data is here. I use 2010's Indonesia's IO table, but and then this final demand by item and in each region, and the output by industry in each region, and 30 some provinces. So the regional share is geometric mean. And in this paper, original IO table is 185 industries, but in this paper, aggregate to 9 industries, and multiplying final demand by above mentioned shares and make data. 9 industries here. 1 is agriculture, second is 2 is mining, 3 is manufacturing, electricity, construction, trade, transportation, fire sector. That's 9 industries in aggregate. So result I introduced to show in result. This one is not analyzing model result. This one is inverse matrix of 9 industries, inverse matrix. This means 1 to 1. Industry 1 to industry 1's spillover effect is including direct effect. So 1.0740, and industry 1 to industry 2 is 0.0126, and the totally industry 1's total spillover effect is 1.2566. In that case, highest is industry 4. Industry 4 is industry 4 is electricity. Water supply is highest, and smallest one is here, agriculture. 1.256. This one is not only without analyzing model. The second one, next one is analyzing model. In that case, I pick up Jakarta's case. Jakarta's case is here, and for example, effect is little higher than without analyzing model. So, for example, 1.25 by 666 make to 1.3795. Little bit effect is higher effect is common. Why that one is? Original model is only using intermediate matrices A, but Indonesian model is A plus R. So if R matrix R is not zero, spillover can be said to large. It's one finding. And next one, this one is yellow mark line is Jakarta's highest effect in among the another all regions. So industry 8 and industry 8 is all of industry from and to also highest. Jakarta and greatest effect in the DK Jakarta pens of spillover calculate for 30. So in this industry 5 construction is the largest, and industry 1 is the smallest. Industry 5 and industry 8 indirect effect is 30 is the largest, and the total speed of the not but industry is not high. And introduce next one is spillover effect in 33 regions. In that case, check spillover effect in regions. In that case, yellow one is highest, and green one is lowest. So in Jakarta's case, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 industry is highest, and Java Plateau is 3 industries highest, and Java Timur's agriculture highest, and lowest is Maluku Utara almost 7 industries lowest, and Kalimantan Timur is 2 industries smallest. That's it. So this one is in this model, intermediate input is common in each province, but this matrix is different in each province. So we can understand the disparity in spillover effects. I can see because yellow one is maximum, green is minimum. And I said again, DKI Jakarta has the highest in the 5 units. Java Plateau is the highest in 3. Java Timur has highest in industry 1. Maluku has the lowest. Can see maybe. And the last table is summary of this one is very complex. So you can see I already submit my paper. So if you want to see find my paper. So and I checked the standard deviation. It means 30 standard because this one is higher. The regional disparity is high. The low one is disparity is low. That means so largest standard deviation is in industry 5 construction. The next one is in service industry 9 service 0.2 is 1075, and the smallest is mining, and the next smallest is agriculture. So I conclude my paper, my presentation is applied regional analysis from input output table in Indonesia, and applying the analyzing household model and generalizing final demand in each region, each province. By analyzing part of final demand, transactions increase, so spillover factor is greater than when it is not endogenous. In my paper, DKI Jakarta has the largest spillover effect in many instances, but however, Maluku is small, and regional disparity in spillover is smallest in industry 2, and largest in industry 5. This means I think mining industries basically spillover effect itself is not so higher. So this one is reasonable. And construction finally spillover is largest in construction, maybe constructing city and some infrastructure, and some in construction is different in each province, I think. So, and in this paper, I use original one country's IO data, but using disaggregation, and it was found very various analysis are possible in with limited data. My presentation, that's all. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Sakamoto. For participants, any question for Professor Sakamoto? Any question? No? Oscar, maybe? Oscar Tiku, any question for Professor Sakamoto?
Thank you for the presentation, Sakamoto Sensei. I have a question, probably maybe technically, regarding to how do you disaggregate or regionalize the final demand on the single region input-output table. And the second is that you mentioned about you use the 185 sectors of the 2010 input-output table, but on the when you measure the spillover effects, is the sectors becomes only 9. How the transformation happened? Thank you.
Thank you very much. And oh, how
Okay.
Very slow. So in this IO table is concept of IO table is here. This one is original one regions IO table, and this part divided to 33 regions. How to divide it? Using BPI's data. So, for example, final demand by item. Final demand by item means consumption, industry, government expenditure, and so. And this part dividing by each region share. Using a share, and second one is output by industry. Output means output by industry. This is for example, agriculture, construction, and service, and so on. So in that case, original regional IO table has 185 industry, many industry has, but from BPI data, I output not so many. So I aggregate to 9 industries. That's all. That situation. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Any question for participants? Okay, Pak Professor Sakamoto, I have one. Oh, okay, Pak Yogi, please.
I just want to have a clarification about the endogenous input-output here. Is the endogeneity is in the technical change or in the price? That one. The other clarification is related to the spillover. So this spillover is mainly based on the my understanding is usually based on the backward linkage instead of the forward linkage. Is that true? Is that the spillover effect that is being calculated here?
Thank you very much. Yeah. As you know, IO analysis has backward linkage, forward linkage also is important thing. But in my paper, all I show all effects, including backward, including forward, and everything. So I usually don't distinguish, but
okay, so it's
yeah. So maybe this was, I don't know how this part is maybe forward, backward, backward linkage here, forward linkage, maybe. Or 違うかもしれない。different. But that's all.
Yogi, this is okay?
Yeah, I think that's okay. The other question is about the endogenous input-output. I just would like to clarify, because there are several different endogenous input-output. There is one that based on the technical change that is endogenous. The other one is about the price that can be endogenous. So it's starting to more like a CGE in a way. But I just would like to know whether the endogenous here means the technical change. So it's partly the intermediate one that become endogenous. So what is being endogenized here in this model?
Oh, I think endogenous is like that. Use this one. This one is input. Intermediate input is output. Output and output multiplied to coefficient. This part is enlarging part. This one is output and the regional coefficient. So enlarging is its meaning. So X move to here and make a inverse matrix. That's it. Understand? Okay.
Yeah, I understand. Fine.
Okay, thank you, Pak Yogi. Professor Sakamoto, I have one clarification. So the endogenizing household, is this similar with the closed model in input-output or not? Endogenizing household, this is similar with the closed model in the standard input-output model?
And this model is mainly Japanese researcher.
Okay.
Japanese researcher like this model.
Okay. Okay, thank you, Professor Sakamoto.
Yes,
any question from for participants, another participant? Any questions? No? Okay, thank you, Professor Sakamoto. Success for your research, and we can move the last presenter. The last presenter is Pak Dadan Iskandar from Universitas Indonesia. Pak Dadan Iskandar talking about the airline performance and internal operation indicator of airline in the COVID-19 pandemic. The time is yours, Pak Iskandar. Dadan.
Yeah, thank you, Pak Joni Hartono, and good evening for all. Thanks for the opportunity to explain about my research. You can see my slide, Pak?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Actually, this research is done by me and my supervisor, Pak Arviansyah, PhD, from Faculty of Economic and Business UI. And we doing research about the impact of COVID-19 pandemic on airline performance and internal operations for the airlines. Okay, as we know that pandemic COVID-19 is spread globally and impact to business activity and including the aviation industry. This study want to identify the most important indicator for the airline's performance and internal operation during the COVID-19 pandemic, so the airline can find the strategy or some improvement to increasing their business. And the objective of this study is to identify the indicators of airline performance that most important during the pandemic, and then to identify the indicators of internal operation that most important during the pandemics. And the limitation is our identification of indicators is obtaining through the systematic literature review, and the determination of indicator used in this study is based on the DLP method. So the problem identification is, for the first is, what are the most important indicator of airline performance during pandemic? And then the second problem identification is what are the most important indicator of internal operations during the pandemics? And the benefit of this research, for the first, provide comprehensive list of indicators for the airlines, and it's helpful to make some decision making in terms of strategy during the pandemic conditions, and provide knowledge for the researchers to conduct further research. Okay, as we know that airline industry models divided by 3 models. For the first is full service airline, and then low cost airlines and charter operators. And then the performance of the airlines divided into 2 categories, namely financial performance and non-financial performance. And the operation of the airlines also categorized into 2 categories also, that call it with the input internal operation and output internal of operations. And the SLR is the method of comprehensive review through a collection of literature review from previous research. And the DLP method is organized participatory process for the building consensus of opinion from the experts. So the methodology of this research, this is the research process of this study. For the first steps, we formulate the problem formulations. After that, we do some we do the systematic literature review to identify airline performance and internal operation indicator from previous journals that have the certain categories, like areas from transportation, and have the rankings key 1 and key 2 categories, and so on. And after we identified the indicators of airline performance and internal operation from the SLR, we move to next step, that we have to determine airline performance and the internal operations that the most important for the airline during pandemics through the DLP methods. As we explained before, that the DLP method is used to determine the indicator performance and internal operation also, that will be selected by the expert in aviation industries, that consists of 23 experts in aviation background, such as the airlines, and then the DGCA, and then the organization or the consultant of the aviation industries, such as the IATA. Okay, this is the systematic literature review process that we conduct in this study. For the first one, we define the areas in social science, and then the categories in transportation, the quality of the journal from the Q1 and Q2 by Simago rankings, and we obtained the 54 the journal with 27 journal that have a Q1 ranking, and 27 journal that had Q2 ranking categories. We used the Google Scholar and Science Direct to searching the articles, obtained 98 articles from 54 journals. And then we do some abstracts filtering, and then the content filtering. And then we have 6 main journal that related to this study. from the Journal of Air Transport Management for the 4 articles, and then the Transportation Research Part A, 1 article, and Sustainable City and Society, 1 article. And then we do some backward and forward journal research. So we have 13 additional articles consisting of 8 articles from backward research and then 5 articles from forward research. And then in total, we have 19 articles that will be used to identify the indicator on this study. Okay, after we identify the indicators from the systematic literature review, and then we have to determine what are the most indicators airline performance and internal operation for the airline during the pandemic. So we do some surveys through the DLP process. For the first step, we do some expert selections. So we have the 23 experts with various aviation background, consists of airline, and then the consultant, and then the MRO, and then the DGCA that I mentioned before. For tools to do some interview, we do through the optimal workshop online site that can help to do some surveys about this DLP process. And this DLP process, there is 2 main stages consisting of a brainstorming. We explain about our study, the objective of our study, and we explain to the expert about the indicators that have identified through the SLR. And then we ask the expert to select and groups the most important indicators during pandemic for the airlines. And after that, in the last stage, we do the consensus of the surveys. The limitation of the value, cutoff value is 51% to produce the list of airline performance indicator and internal operation that most important during the pandemic conditions. Okay, the result from the systematic literature review, we have 19 articles, like I mentioned before, from previous journals. And then we also identified the 20 indicators of airline performance and internal operations from the articles. So this is the indicators that we explain to the expert, and then we ask them to select the most important indicator of airline performance and indicators of internal operation. And then also we ask them to categorize of these indicators is into the airline performance or internal operations. Okay. So this is the explanation for the each indicators that obtained from the SLR process. There is profitability ratios, load factors, fleet size, number of departures, revenue tons kilometers, number of passenger, network size, available tons kilometers, revenue passengers kilometers, market size, number of employee, fuel burn, stock price, passenger service expense, ancillary revenue, aircraft kilometers, solvency ratios, promotion expense, available seat kilometer, and number of takeoffs. So there is 20 indicators. So the result of the DLP process, all of the, so we obtained the 14 indicators that consist of ancillary revenue, available seat kilometers, available tons kilometer, fleet size, fuel burn, load factor, network size, number of departures, number of employee, number of passengers, profitability, revenue passengers kilometer, revenue tons kilometer, and solvency that achieve the cutoff value. So these are the most important indicators that selected by the expert. From 20 indicators, selected 14 indicators. So For the 14 indicators, we asked the expert to categorize the indicators that have been selected before to their categories. That 4 categories: financial and non-financial performance for the performance indicators, and then the input or the output for the internal operation categories. So we have the same mechanism before that. We choose the 51% as the cutoff value for this process. So we have the 5 indicator for the financial consists of ancillary revenue for 65% and profitability is 100%, revenue passengers kilometer, revenue tons kilometers that categorizes to the financial performance. And then for the non-financial performance, there is a 3 indicators that's selected by the experts. So there is consists of load factors, number of passengers, and the on-time performance. And the on-time performance is not exist before that not obtained from the SLR. There, the on-time performance is the feedback from the expert that obtained from the DLP process. So our survey is not class survey, so open survey, so the expert can give some their insight if there is a not indicator listed from our survey. Okay. So these are the result of the consensus from the DLP process. We have the airline performance that categorized to financial and non-financial performance. For the financial performance, we have the indicator for the first profitability, revenue tons kilometer, revenue passengers kilometers, solvency, and ancillary revenue. That are the most important indicator for the financial performance for the airline during the pandemic. And then for the non-financial performance, there are 3 indicators, such as load factors, on-time performance, and number of passengers. That's all for the airline performance. And then for the internal operation, also categorized into 2 categories, consists of input and output. From the input internal operation, we have 3 indicators that the most important indicator for the airline during the pandemic. For the first one, fleet size, network size, and number of employees. And then for the output internal operation, there is a number of departures, available tons kilometer, fuel burn, and available seats kilometer. Sorry. So the value of consensus for the airline performance is 87%, and for the internal operation 83%, with quarter one and quarter 3 is assigned for 5 values, and the quarter is 0, and the standard deviation for the airline performance is 0.3367, and the standard deviation for the internal operation is not different significance in 0.3790. Okay, the conclusion of this study, we have the probability indicator is the most important for the financial performance according to the expert. And then there is a revenue tons kilometer indicators is the revenue obtained from cargo freight activities supported the profitability in pandemic. We know that in our condition today that airlines suffer because the profitability dropped dramatically, right? Because there is a mass and large restriction for the travels, but there is opportunity from the revenue tons kilometer that freight revenue from the other side for the logistics cargo. And in line with the Sajarni et al. In 2021 that cargo demands tend to increase 28.4% today compared to the previous year in 2020. So I think, the revenue tons kilometer can be compensated for the decrease in revenue from passenger demand today. And from the operational side, there is a fleet size indicator that is the most important indicator of operational indicators during the pandemic for the airline, because this measure the number of aircraft owned by the airline, and it's impacted to the efficiency of the airlines. Bigger the fleet size, also bigger the cost there, and in vice versa. I think that's all from my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Pak Dadan.
Thank you, Pak.
Yeah, for participants, any question for Pak Dadan? Okay, from Pak. Pak Dadan, you have two questions. One from Pak Yogi and second from Pak Wempie. You can see in the question in the chat.
Yeah, Pak.
Chat? Yes. Okay. Thank you, Pak.
Pak Yogi have a question. The DLP method. The DLP method always state that this is the feedback. Wait. Sorry, there is a problem with my.
So I probably need to explain the.
Okay, Pak Yogi, maybe you can explain your question, Pak Yogi.
Yeah, Pak.
Yes. So the first question is related to the Delphi method. It's always coming back to, this is what the experts say, without explaining or showing who or what kind of expertise this expert has. So like the work in here, because this is a country with small population, usually the expert is only 3, 4, but you have quite a lot of experts. So is there any possibility to like group whether this expert is expert in finance or expert in aviation, technical aviation, or else? My second question is how easy it is. Like one of the indicator is the fleet size, but how easy it is to reduce the fleet size at this moment, because what kind of company who would buy the fleet?
Okay, thank you, Pa, for the questions. For the first question about the categorizing of the experts, actually I'm not the description of my expert in the presentation, but I'm just explain my through the verbal explanation that I have the 23 expert, that is 5 categories, Pak. For the first categories is airlines, and then second categories is consultants, like consultant for the Emirates Airline, and then we have the consultants and practicing such as the IATA, and then we have also the categories of expert from the airport side, and then the airline consultant and organization, and then the airport, and then from the DGCA, Directorate of Kemenhub, and then the last one is from the like wait for the so there is a 5 group panel expert, and then for the second question about the fleet size, fleet size is the most important indicators, because in current condition, fleet size impacted to the cost of the company. For before pandemic, when the economic is good, more aircraft, more bigger fleet size is more for money, right? Because there is a lot of aircraft that can be used for the transport to make some generate the revenue. But for now, Pak, there is a restrictions. So aircraft grounded, not possible to make generate the revenue for the airlines. So there is a higher, the huge cost for the fleet size that has the impact because we fleet size for the airlines in Indonesia 90% is leasing aircraft. So the airlines have to pay every month to the lessor, right? So from the DLP method, we have the important indicators is fleet size, right? Because this it means that airline have to change their strategy to make small infrastructure to make some efficiency during the pandemic. I think that's all. And then, is it okay, Pak Yogi?
Yogi, is this okay?
Thank you. Thank you. Yes.
Thank you. Yes. Okay. One question from Pak Wempie, and we can move the Pak Juventus the last. Pak Dadan, you can see the one question from Pak Wempie. Yeah. Okay.
Thank you, Pak Wempie, for the question. Do you have any explanation for the Garuda case and other airline which still can relatively exist? That you mean Garuda case, what you mean with the Garuda case, Pak? Can you elaborate, please?
Pak Wempie, you can more explanation with your question, Pak Wempie.
Yeah, we know that Garuda has a big problem right now with a lot of debt and yeah, maybe can go into bankruptcy. So relatively, when we compare between Garuda and other airline, maybe other airline relatively can survive relatively, but why not Garuda can go like that, or will go into bankruptcy? Or do you have any explanation about that condition? That's just a current condition that what I see in the news.
Yeah.
In the news.
Yeah, but thank you for your question. So actually, the information for the Garuda Indonesia, I think, is very easy to obtain it, Pak, because it's a public company. So the report, annual report, can be download from their website, so we can analyze the performance or the performance of this airline. And I see that this airline have the huge of the expand in lease aircraft, but the cost is not competitive, I think, compared to other airlines. And it's according to the IATA survey that Garuda Indonesia is the highest have the highest cost of the lease aircraft around the world, but so it's not competitive for the airline to make profit for the such as conditions. And I'm curious about this problem. How can be Garuda Indonesia have a huge lease cost, and it's related to the case that handled by KPK today, Pak, that there is a corruption, right? So this is a sensitive matter, I think, that about this issue.
Thank you, Pak.
Yeah, thank you, Pak Wempie.
Okay, we can Pak Juventus, you have question?
Yeah, thanks, Pak Johnny. Thank you, Pak Dadan, for the presentation. Very interesting. I just have two questions. The first one is about you collect the expert opinions from different, like for airlines, association, I just wonder whether they have a conflicting opinion about the indicator. I mean, for the airlines, probably they want to maximize their profit. But for the government, they want to make sure that the airlines, the planes are safe enough. And the association probably may care about the worker. So probably they have different opinion. And the second one is that I'm a little bit surprised that safety is not included in the performance indicator of the airline.
Yeah,
I think that's the question for me.
Yeah,
Thank you,
Pak. Thank you, Pak Juven, for the question. For the first questions about the conflict of interest, right? Within the expert. So I selected this expert is from their background that in touch with the airline, in touch about the performance and internal operation. For the example, about the categories from the group panel expert for the airline, I choose the department that involved on this study. We call it about the financial department and then the operation department, and also for the Kemenhub, let's say DGCA, the Directorate Civil Authority. I chose the expert that have the in touch about the operation and performance, such as the DKPPU, Pak, that have job role about to maintain the internal operation of the airlines, have achieved the minimum standard of safety. So the point is the selected of the expert from this research is based on the involved their job role for the performance and operations. So there is no conflict interest because there is same activities about the performance and operations. I think that's all for the first question, and then the last question is about the. Can you?
It's about. I'm just a little bit surprised. Safety is not one of the performance indicator for the airlines.
Yeah, but as I mentioned before, that the identification of the indicators for this research is based on the systematic literature review, and based on the result of the systematic literature review is only 20 indicators that obtain it, and there is no safety in indicators in the result.
Okay, okay, Pak Juventus, this is okay for you?
Yeah, that's okay for me.
Okay, thank you very much from Pak Udin, from Pak Wempie, Pak Dadan, dan Professor Sakamoto. This is, I think, the end of this session. Thank you again for Rania, organizing from the UGM, organizing this session. Thank you. Don't remember, tomorrow we have another plenary and parallel session. Success for all presenters, and stay healthy. So big applause, please big applause for all presenters. Thank you. See you again in tomorrow. Thank you very much.